this is going to be a time of scriptures and candles and songs and readings and prayers. And afterward, once the benediction is given, if you'd like to stay on and have a little bit of conversation with each other, you're invited to do so. And so, let us begin. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down, a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. Tonight is the longest night of the year. And it makes me think of that psalm that says, weeping may tarry for the night, but joy comes with the morning. And many of us have experienced the long night. And in fact, we're still experiencing the long night. How long is your night? For some of us, we've experienced deep loss this year. Some of us have lost loved ones, people we care about, and we are still dealing with the grief of that. And it's magnified at a time like this during the Christmas season. And Advent becomes maybe even more meaningful for us as we experience the longing and the waiting. But for all of us, we have experienced loss. We've experienced a time of isolation and anxiety and fear. And we're tired of the news, and we're tired of all of the things that are going on around us. And we're ready for something new. We're ready for the morning to come, but we're still in that night. And so that's what this service is about. It's about being in the night and waiting for the morning. And so may these words and these candles and these songs and these scriptures bring all of us strength for the longest night and a deep meaning for this Advent and Christmas season that maybe we would not have otherwise, and hope for that joy that comes in the morning.
We light this first candle to remember those whom we have loved and lost. We pause to remember clearly their faces, their voices, their bodies. We embrace and give thanks for the memories that bind them to us in this season of expectation, when all creation waits for the light.
And ransom captive Israel, that brighten the weary rejoice. Emmanuel shall come to thee. Oh, yes,
This reading is from Psalm 22, 1 to 5 and 10 to 11, from the New Revised Standard Version. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from helping me, from the words of my groaning?
Oh my God, I cry by day, but you do not answer, and by night, but find no rest.
Yet you are holy, enthroned on the praises of Israel.
In you our ancestors trusted. They trusted, and you delivered them.
To you they cried and were saved. In you they trusted and were not put to shame.
On you I was cast from my birth, and since my mother bore me, you have been my God.
Do not be far from me.
For trouble is near, and there is no one to help.
oh, little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. The dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by. Yet in thy dark street shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are within thee tonight.
We light this second candle to remember the pain of loss of relationships, loss of trust, loss of jobs, loss of health, loss of faith, the loss of joy. We acknowledge and embrace the pain of the past, O God, and we offer it to you, asking that into our wounded hearts and open hands, you will place the gift of peace. Shalom.
Oh, come, thou day spring, come and cheer our spirits by thine advent. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night, and the dark shadows put to flight. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee. Oh, yes,
Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
For Christ is born of Mary, and gathered all above. While mortals sleep, angels keep their watch of wandering love. O morning stars together, proclaim the morning birth, and praises sing to God the King, and peace to all on earth.
We light this third candle to remember ourselves this Christmas time. We pause and remember the past weeks and months, and some of us years, that have been heavy with our burdens. We accept and lay before you, God, the sharpness of memory, the sadness and grief, the hurt and fear, the anger and pain. We accept and lay before you the ways we feel we have fallen short, and in times we have spent blaming ourselves and you for all that we have suffered. We acknowledge and lay before you the time we have walked alone in darkness and in knowledge of our own mortality.
Oh, come, the wisdom from on high, and order all things high and nigh. To us the path of knowledge show, and cause us in her ways to go. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee. Oh, yes, Lord.
Psalm 121, New Revised Standard Version. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this day on, time on, and forevermore.
How silently, how silently, how wondrous gift is He. So God imparts to human hearts the blessings of His hands. No ear may hear His coming, but in this world of sin, where speak so soon, receive them still. Oh, dear Christ,
We light this fourth candle to remember faith, the gift of light and hope that God offers us to the stories of Hanukkah and of Christmas, which both also began in abandonment, insecurity, and humbleness, in a time of war and in a poor stable. We remember that the loving God who kept the light shining in the temple and who came to share this life with us promises us comfort and peace.
oh, come, desire of nations, mind of peoples, in one heart and mind. Let envy, strife, and quarrels cease. Fill the whole world with heaven's peace. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee. Oh, yes.
God is our refuge and strength, a help always near in times of great trouble. That's why we won't be afraid when the world falls apart, when the mountains crumble into the center of the sea, when its waters roar in rage, when the mountains shake because of its surging waves. There is a river whose streams gladdens God's city, the holiest dwelling of the Most High. God is in that city. It will never crumble. God will help when morning dawns. Nations roar, kingdoms crumble. God utters his voice. The earth melts. The Lord of heavenly forces is with us. The God of Jacob is our place of safety. Come, see the Lord's deeds, what devastation has imposed on the earth, bringing wars to an end in every corner of the world, breaking the bow and shattering the spear, burning chariots with fire. That's enough. Now, know that I am God. I am exalted among nations. I am exalted throughout the world. The Lord of heavenly forces is with us. The God of Jacob is our place of safety.
Holy child of Bethlehem, descend to us, we pray. Cast out our sin and intervene. Be born in us this day. We hear the Christmas angels, the great glad tidings tell. Oh, come to us, abide with us. Oh, Lord, Emmanuel.
At this time, we will be having the prayers of the people, and Nick and I, Pastor Nick and I, will be alternating in leading in those prayers. And at the end of each prayer, we will say, Lord, hear our prayer. And we invite you, muted in your own space, to say, and in your merciful love, answer. I've written that in the chat for those of you who are like me and have a hard time remembering a phrase like that that's that long. But Lillian will be leading that part. She will be saying that one, and you'll be able to hear her say that if you'll say that along with her. And so let us begin the prayers of the people. God of wisdom, we come to you this Christmas season tired, in turmoil, and in pain. As the nights have grown longer, so has darkness grown and wrapped itself around our hearts. In this season of longest night, we ask your healing blessings upon all that we carry in our hearts. Sorrow we fear may never end, wounds we cannot even put into words. Lord, hear our prayer.
And in your merciful love, answer.
God of mercy and compassion, there are those among us who are grieving over what might have been. Death or loss or terrible hurt has changed our experience of Christmas. We remember that once it was a special day for us too, but someone or something precious has gone away from us in this life. We have lost a beloved, a job, a goal, a cause, a dream. We find ourselves adrift and alone. We are weary from the journey, and we have found no room at the inn. We come to you seeking rest and peace and shelter from the storm. Lord, hear our prayer.
And in your merciful love, answer.
God of grace, in the spirit of the season, grant us all that we need to comfort us as we journey through this Christmas season. We ask that you shelter and sustain all those of us, both here and throughout the world, who wander or want or weep or are heavy laden, that we may be lifted up, encouraged, and journey on in thy peace. Lord, hear our prayer.
And in your merciful love, answer.
God of love, in this Christmas season, we embrace and offer up to you all that used to be, which is now lost to us and cannot be again. With celebration all around us, memories of what was, and fears of what may be, these weigh heavy on our hearts. Please hold us close in your embrace. Be near to us this night until the light returns and morning comes. Lord, hear our prayer.
And in your merciful love, answer.
Silence love is gone, love is gone. Round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender, sleep
And now receive the benediction. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace, both now and forevermore. Amen. We invite you to stay and have conversation if you would like. Let me remind you that we will be having a Christmas Eve service that will be available on YouTube beginning around noon on Christmas Eve. And then on Christmas Eve night at 5 o'clock, there will be a brief time of carols and readings and candlelight on our church lawn. And so if you would like to come and bring your mask and your lawn chair or your blanket and your coat, and we'll appropriately social distance, but we'll be at the same place together for at least a few minutes to celebrate Christmas Eve together. So if you're able to come that night, we invite you to come. And so Merry Christmas. And if you'd like, I say, we'll leave this on if you'd like to unmute yourself and have informal conversation with everybody. You're welcome to.